Yeah, life and travel, I think it's one of the real key things to most of the people that we work with. I mean, certainly all the guitar makers I work with, when you ask them how they decide to do like a guitar show, it's like, how excited am I about visiting that particular place? They almost never talk about the economics of it, or unless they complain that it's too expensive for a hotel, but they don't talk about, oh, you can definitely sell guitars in Vienna or Berlin.
It's funny, you'd asked me that earlier, and I didn't want to admit that. Yeah, that is a big decision.
Yeah.
A big criteria in making the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, guitar makers, like all artists, aren't so much motivated by dollars. They're motivated by the experience.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a successful guitar show, put it in a place where it's going to be an attractive experience.
Right. Yeah, it's a good place for us to go and visit, find inspiration while we're there. There's going to be good restaurants that we can go out to afterwards and talk with other people who are like my other creators. It's just been. I'm only getting shit here for saying this, but do it anyways. I had the feeling that a lot of the guitar makers who were at this show in Osaka that we were just at put in their day at the show so they could be out having food and drinking together in the evenings, frankly. And then they came in looking pretty rough in the morning, a lot of them, because they really emphasized the social side and didn't and weren't too concerned about sacrificing the business side of it on the other side of it.
I used to do that. I found that my energy would be dried up too soon.
Yeah.
And so I discipline myself now. I go straight back to the hotel, get as much sleep as possible, manage my energy.
Yeah. Yeah, when I do an AM show, I'm almost on a liquid diet. Like I just drink water, coffee, and like green vegetable juice. Like I just hydrate, and get me through the day. And you're right, I don't stop anymore. I don't go out for dinners typically because, I'm there for the work. But I don't think that kind of attitude is so common in our industry. You're disciplined to go back to the hotel and be ready to do work the next day. I had
to learn that though.
Yeah.
I had to learn it the hard way.
All right. You want to share a lesson? How did you learn the hard way? What does it mean?
Well, NAMM especially is an expensive show. And the amount of effort to get to NAMM doesn't matter how soon you start. If you start in February and prepare for the show for the next following January, you're still going to be at the last towards the finish line. You're still going to be making modifications and tweaking things, and you're still going to be adding things to try and make it the best instrument you could possibly take. And so you're going to be running on late nights and weekends and running out of energy even before you get to the show. And then you get to the show, and typically, not every guitar builder, but most of them, in order to live that lifestyle where you're alone at your bench for most of your life, that attracts an introvert. And so you put an introvert into an environment where it's noisy all day, you're talking all day, it's extremely draining. And so, for me, it would be July before I recovered. And I thought it was just the work getting ready for the show, but I found out afterwards that no, it's the drain on my introverted side that really wipes me out. And so limit the amount of extroverted activities after the show and just save them all for the show.
Yeah, that's interesting. As you say it, I know it for sure that, I do talk about the fact that the guitar makers are, work alone by themselves, the introverted part of it, and that it's really a lot of stimulus, perhaps overstimulus.
It is,
to come into an environment like that. And it's, when we talk about the business side of things, it makes sense to go into the crowd to do the business. But so many guitar makers I know favor these tiny little shows where it's not reasonable to expect to do very much business.
Right.
Because it's not so stressful for them. They get to hang out with their friends, and kind of the same part of the traveling part of it. That it's not the And the motivation is so not the money. It's just it's to be close to friends. It's to get some support from each other, cry on each other's shoulders sometimes, you know, and it's that community that they get together with other introverts hanging out. Not that all guitar makers are introverts. There's certainly a lot of them who are not, you know, but the majority, I think you're right, it attracts that. For somebody who likes that and they can find a way to work alone on something they care about, that is certainly describes most guitar makers for sure.
And you know, you can live in both worlds. You can be a private introvert and a professional extrovert.
Yeah.
And it just depends on what nourishes you and energizes you.
Yeah.
But typically, introverted brains have more receptors, and so they're sensitive to input.
Yeah.
But I think that also allows you to focus in on your craft and really focus in and from a number of different points of view and create a better product.
Yeah. Yeah, that sensitivity may be an absolutely necessary part of the equation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you for watching and listening. You can find more episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts, and a special thanks to those who support us on Patreon. It's your support that enables us to do this work.